Actually, yes, cluster policy in Catalonia started at the early beginning of the concept of cluster was made known by Mike Porter, and the first cluster initiative started in 1992. And it was a very practical approach. It was a new way of looking to the productive economy, mainly industry, manufacturing industry in that period, and a new way of see how this small business could evolve and could be more competitive through strategy, through upgrading strategy. And at the beginning, this initiative were very focused on a specific, targeted on a specific sector, like furniture, like leather tanning, like textile, and this helped to upgrade the competitiveness of this company through learning from more advanced clusters. In that epoch, there was no cluster organization, so it was more a work of the administration, the government of Catalonia, to understand what will be the competitive challenges of a specific business, a specific sector, and try to upgrade it through concrete projects. Since then, the cluster concept has evolved a lot, and the cluster policy have evolved also accordingly. Maybe a decade or more ago, we started with the first class organization, and this is our organization that are in charge of managing the cluster and better trying to find projects and initiatives that are in the same direction of upgrading the competitiveness of these clusters. And in 2014 we launched the Catalonia Cluster Program that is currently also in force, and that currently is gathering 30 cluster initiatives in very different sectors. And our program is a program that is focusing more on supporting cluster organization in giving specialized services rather than on funding. The funding are done for concrete projects and not for the organization. And it's a program that is focused on improving cluster excellence, so cluster internationalization, better cluster management, and also in creating critical mass for the cluster organization, in the sense that we are trying to move from the concept of microcluster that was at the beginning. We started with very small cluster initiative, very focusing on a specific sector, to broader cluster initiative that we are now, and some of them also define it a bit cross-sectorial. That cluster policy, one of the first requisites of cluster policies is to be dynamic and to be in continuous evolution. And in fact, I think that one of the constant characteristics is in our policy is the continued change, and the change both in the designing of the program, starting, I say at the beginning, from a microcluster to clusters that are more broadly defined now. But also on how cluster serve for competitiveness. Clusters are always a tool for improving competitiveness of companies, and it is now a lot of things are changing, and we are in front of new challenges. I think that cluster should have a new role in, of course, in policies like the smart specialization, but also a new role, and this is something quite new. We are working since no more than a couple of years in using cluster for a more sustainable competitiveness. So we are introducing the concept of share value. That is also a concept that came originally from the academia, from Michael Porter, and a concept that says that you can combine both generating benefits for companies at the same time benefit for the society. both at environmental level but also societal level. And I think clusters are a very good tool for identifying this kind of initiatives and to implementing it, because in cluster you have a lot of stakeholders, different stakeholders, not only companies but also knowledge providers like university, like knowledge centers, and also public stakeholders. So this is something that is a very good ecosystem environment to detect this kind of project. If you, to give you an example, one of the most successful initiative and project we had in clusters is in leather tanning industry that is very polluting, to create water treatment plants that serve as a cluster. This initiative that was detected and was identified thanks to a cluster initiative and to the analysis, strategic analysis was done, is an initiative that it benefits at the same time the cluster under the point of view of competitiveness, because it's a help to reduce costs because it's a common infrastructure for the company of the clusters, but at the same time also it's a benefit for the local community that is living there, because they will have more clean water, and so this kind of initiative that this is just an example because we have dozens of other examples, is something that in which the cluster could play a very important role. And I think that this is something that cluster have to take into account. We are trying to work with our cluster in Catalonia to promote this kind of projects, and also to try to systematize a bit, because we have already some examples like this, but now the challenge is to how to make it more systematic and how to measure also these benefits.